When's the last time that you received a letter in the mail? I'm not talking about an advertisement or a bill, which is usually the mail that we receive these days. And I'm not talking about one of those pre-written holiday business cards that usually come around the holidays. I'm talking about a handwritten letter. And how did it feel when you received this letter? Because if you're anything like me, it felt like Christmas Day. You rush to the mailbox, you open this gift, this physical letter that was meant just for you. And it reminds you that someone took time out of their day to think about you, to consider the exact words that you needed to hear in that moment. And it reminds you that somebody wrote you this letter for the sole sake of you feeling loved. In the 21st century, we live in a world that is defined by rapid communication, usually in the form of social media. And we live in a world that believes it can thrive by communicating in this way, but I am led to believe that we are not exactly thriving. The Branded Research Inc. conducted a study of workplace adults and found that 75% of people feel that constant notifications on their phone leads them to feeling distracted and leads them to feeling like it's hard to focus and even makes them procrastinate at work. And according to McLean University, which is a Harvard Medical School affiliate, they found that social media leads to mental illness like anxiety and depression and even physical ailments. And we all know in the culture that we lived in, defined by political isolation and bias, that a term like cancel culture was born in the fabric of social media. Now, this is not to say that social media and rapid communication is a bad thing. In fact, there are organizations such as the Corporation for National and Community Service that found that volunteerism in the United States has risen by 5.4% since 2018, much attributed to the recruiting and fundraising methods of social media. So this isn't always a bad thing, but what I am saying is that as a 21-year-old college student, living in this rapidly communicating world, I have felt left behind, depressed, lonely, and anxious. But over the past 4 years, I have found a habit, a form of communication that has really transformed my life and has allowed me to thrive, and this is letter writing. Now, don't get me wrong, before I came to college, I didn't even know how to address an envelope, and I thought that letter writing was something that only old people did. Only my grandmother was the person that wrote me letters. But when I came to college, I started getting involved with organizations such as More Love Letters that uses letter writing as an act of service. And I have used the tool of letter writing to build a positive culture on my campus. And I have even had the good pleasure of building a community of pen pals that has lasted me throughout the course of the past 4 years, all of which have taught me that there's immense power in community and letter writing, but it's also transformed the way that I communicate with people and love people. It has taught me how to be more physically and emotionally present with people. It has taught me to really consider the words that I say. And it has taught me that you can build community in any way, no matter how small, all of which have helped me to thrive. So first, letter writing has taught me to be more physically and emotionally present with the people around me. In the peak of my social media engagement, which was around the time before freshman year of college, I noticed that when I even had a 10-minute conversation with somebody, we could not go those 10 minutes without our phones out on the table and them lighting up and buzzing with a world around us calling for our attention. And so I knew that even though I was with people, I was not actually with them, nor were they with me. We were not present in the moment. But letter writing is different. Letter writing is a very physically engaging activity. It takes physical time, anywhere from 10 minutes to hours to write a letter. It takes physical energy to send the letter, to walk to the post office to send out this letter. So it's a very physically engaging activity, but it's also emotionally engaging. It calls you to be emotionally present. Up on this slide, there's a letter that I wrote to my grandmother at the beginning of the year. I used my inkwell pen and I wrote in beautiful calligraphy, something that only she would enjoy, and the words I said were meant for her. But this is not a letter that I would write to every pen pal that I have. The other picture on this slide is a letter that I wrote to my friend, who she is a very creative person, and so she enjoys little doodles and activities in the letters that I write her. So that is designed for her. But if I had a friend who was depressed, I would write them a quick letter with words that merely said, "I'm here for you, I value you, and I enjoy having you in my life." When you write a letter in its truest form, the words that you say and the ways that you design your letter are specifically meant for that person. So it is a very emotionally engaging activity. And what I found by doing this habitually is that when I go to be with people, the phone is off the table, and I want to take in every part of that person and be very intentional with the time I have with them. Because when you write letters, you design them to be present, both physically and emotionally, for that person. And that's how letter writing has taught me to be more present with people. Letter writing has also taught me to be very considerate with the words that I say. I don't know if you've been on social media in the past couple years, but it is really easy to post any little thought that comes to your head, and I am guilty of doing this. But it is also easy to get in really toxic online debates. And if you've ever been engaged with a debate like that or an argument on social media, you know that it is really easy to say words that you don't mean. Even to the point where you delete it immediately because you know that what you said is something you would never say to a person. But what I found with social media trainings in the jobs that I have is that even if you delete the words that you say on social media, they will never go away. That digital footprint is always there, and you can never undo the emotional harm you've done to a person from the words that you've said. So with rapid communication, it's really easy to say words you don't actually mean, but with letter writing, it's completely different, and this is for multiple reasons. Letter writing has a cost to it. Everything from the time that you spend on a letter to the actual monetary cost of the paper that you use or the stamp that you put on an envelope. All of it costs something. And so if you're like me, or any human for that matter, if something costs an amount, whether physical or monetary, you're going to be a lot more careful how you spend that cost. The other reason is that there's a limited amount of space that you can use to say what you want to get across to a person. On this slide, I have examples of a few letters that I have written in the past, all of which are on standard pieces of stationery, which are usually around 4 by 6 inches. That is a standard and average piece of stationery. But regardless of whether you use an average piece of stationery or you get letter writing paper and write numerous pages to a person, there is still a physical limit on what you can send to somebody. And so in that space, you really want to take time to consider what is more important that I say in this letter than what I could text or Snapchat or email or call. Letter writing has taught me to be more considerate with the things that I say because of these two elements. And so what I have found is that I am less likely to post on social media because not all things are worth saying. And when I do post, whether it be for a social cause or something going on in my life, I am a lot more concise in the words that I say. Because letter writing has taught me to get across words in a shorter amount of time that truly mean what you want to say. Letter writing has also taught me that you can build community in any way possible, no matter how small. I could give you countless examples of times in my life where letters have really changed lives of people that I've written to or how they've changed my life personally, but the most prominent example that stands out in my mind is with an organization with which I am involved called More Love Letters. On the slide, there is a bundle of letters that I have sent through this organization through an event they have called the 12 Days of Letter Writing. They do it around the holidays. How this organization works is that on their website, you can submit a name of somebody in your life that really needs encouragement for whatever reason. Maybe it's because they have suffered loss recently, or they're depressed, or Maybe they had a big accomplishment that people in their life really didn't take time to acknowledge. So you will go on their website and submit stories of these people. And the people of More Love Letters will pick a story, pick a person that could really use this encouragement the most. And they will reach out to their community of letter writers across the country and across the world, saying, hey, there is some person that you will never meet, but they really need love in this moment. And so letter writers across the country and across the world will take to their pens and write these letters of love and encouragement to a person they will never meet. And in the end, this person gets hundreds of letters, all saying the same thing. I love you, I affirm you, and I'm here for you. Letter writing, in this sense, builds immense community, even amongst strangers who will never meet each other all across the world. So letter writing, even though it is a small action, has the power to build community and to change lives. Letter writing is not just a cute, quick activity where you get a little piece of paper and write some random words and you throw it in the mail. It is a powerful form of communication. It has the power to transform not only how we communicate with people in the culture that we live in, but it can teach us to be more present with the people around us, to be more considerate with the words that we say, and it can teach us to build community even in the smallest of ways. My challenge to you is that after you hear this talk, go write a letter to somebody. Take 10 minutes out of your day to write a letter to someone in your life that you really love, you just don't tell them enough that you love them. And I want you to really think of that person, consider them, and write the words that they need to hear the most. And when you give them this letter, take in everything about how they receive it, the reaction on their face, the way that they light up, that they hold on to that letter. Because I hope that with this small action, not only will you see how letter writing can transform the lives of those around us, but how it can transform your life and help you to thrive. Thank you.